Hi guys, and welcome to Drika Styles. It's your girl Shandrika here, back with another video. And if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell. All right, so we're going to get straight into it. And today we're going to be talking about how important it is to sit at the dinner table with your family. And you just don't have to be married to do this. You don't have to have 5 kids to do this. No. Even if it's you. When I was single, I sat at the table by myself, just preparing myself for a marriage so it can just be routine. So I also set a plate at the table for my husband, although I was just there by myself. I only did this when I was home alone. Otherwise, people probably would think I was a little crazy, but I knew the reason behind me doing it. And when Edison and I were engaged and he would come over, it was just so, I was just so accustomed to doing that his plate was already there. So it was just routine, it's habit. So I did that for some time. And so by the time I got married, it just became natural. So I would recommend that, you go ahead, do what you have to do. You have to set up your life for what you want, So I pretended that my husband is going to be at the table. So his plate was already ready for him. So when we were younger, my dad would sit at the table. And I noticed growing up that lots of people in our family did sit at the table together. And if it wasn't like the table, it was like somewhere on the sofa in the living room eating. But sometimes the TV was on, but sometimes it wasn't. It was just different times, but I did notice that it brought us together. I used to love to eat when everybody else was eating. And I knew a long time ago that it was going to be a part of what our family was going to do. And so now that we have the 3 boys, we definitely put this into practice and we try to do it every single day for dinner time. And so what it looks like in our home is everybody just coming together. We're preparing a table, setting the table. We say our grace, and then we go around and ask each other what's our best part, what's our worst part. It's going to take some time at the table. It's just not going to go by like in 10 minutes, not even 20. Sometimes we're there an hour, but that time is so crucial. So everybody gets to say what's their best and worst part. Then we go around again and we tell everybody to say something nice about somebody else at the table, or we're going to say something nice about everybody at the table. So it's a really great thing to hear everybody tell you what they admire about you, and these are coming from the people that you love most, so. And sometimes I'm like, is there anything that I can work on? And it's also great to hear their answers to that too. Sometimes, especially Josiah will eat at the table with his elbows, or Elijah will slouch like this. And so, we tell him to sit up. We tell Elijah to, I'm going to get these kids' name right one day. We might tell Josiah, no, your wrist belong on the table if you're going to rest anything, but not your elbow like this. So we're just preparing them for life, so, and sometimes we would let them eat with a fork and a knife. So we do that all throughout the day. Sometimes we go by other people's houses and they're asking for a knife and they're like, what? And sometimes they get laughed at or whatever, but we know what we're teaching them. A lot of our parenting styles is not the norm, or people have forgotten about those traditional ways, I guess. And a lot of those I like to incorporate. Some it ain't happening here because I just don't like them. But a lot of things we do take from the past and we still have it here in our home. But yeah, so even if you get talked about, it's okay because you know what you're doing and we know what God has called us to do and how he has called us to raise our family. So that's what we're going to do despite what anybody else may say. And it's a good thing to sit at the table too because you hear what is going on in your children's world because they have a lot of things that they want to know and a lot of things that can bless us as well. So we definitely let them lead, and that's a great place to see them be leaders. And so we try to encourage them, saying nice words to them. And when people come over or sleep over, we've had, some kids that came over or whatever. And so we try to, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, we do this for breakfast too. But not as much as we do it for dinner. So we get a few times at the table. But when other people come over and they see how we do our dinner, they're taken back by it or they like it. I mean, they're like, oh, wow, this is awesome. I never really got a negative thing. I heard negative words from people about our dinner table, but the way that we do things, maybe somebody came over and it's like, this is taking too long. And that person was ready to get back to his or her phone. And so I know like it's going to take some getting used to, but You just have to discipline yourself like that. That matters so much more than you scrolling on Facebook or Instagram, you know? So yeah, just have to get your priorities straight. So off to these things that I pulled up that I wanted to share with you guys. And this is just a little study saying that statistics show that only 40% of people sit at the table with their families. Even 10% don't sit together at all. And it's mainly because of electronics or the busy life that we are living right now. And I'm just like, wow, that is so crazy. Like, not even 50% of people are sitting at the table. So if you're not sitting at the table, you might want to reconsider that. Like, you would be surprised the bond that happens at the table. And yes, it's very, very important. So important. And it makes a big difference in your life and your children's life. So this little article say, what happened to the dinner? What happened to family dinners? Why should we bring them back? Better physical health. Because usually when people cook, they cook a healthier meal than just eating out every day. Oh, let me stop and get pizza. Oh, let me stop and get McDonald's. You know, things like that. So that builds up on your body. And that's why they say one of the cons to not sitting at the table is obesity. But yes, and also it grows your family bond and cut costs. And so we know because you're going to the grocery, you'll probably spend less for meals for the week, more than going out every single day or for every single meal, you know, at a fast food restaurant. So yes, I think those are very important, and they also have how important it is for conversations that goes on with your meals. This last article kind of brings it to a more spiritual view of it all. The dinner table as a place of connection, brokenness, and blessing. And we already said that we already know, for one, that when Jesus called the disciples or people that he met with, a lot of time they were eating, you know, and discussing things. He was teaching them and just getting them to know more of who he was and giving them direction. So like I said, it's connection and also correction at the dinner table. So that is the way that he did it, and it's a blessing for us to be able to do that. So why not take advantage of that? um it can also be a blessing if somebody is coming and they are a sinner. That's what they was talking about, the brokenness. And not just sinners, but it could be anybody. But if somebody doesn't know Christ, then that is a great way to put him out there. Right there, you can minister just by sitting at the table. A lot of times you don't even have to bring up Christ's name, just by people seeing your demeanor, your character, and what you bring to the table. You know, they would be inspired by that, or God to touch their heart that they see something in you. You know, God to open their eyes so they see him. So not really something in you, but they see the Christ that's in you. So yeah, and it says before we invite people to Jesus or invite them to church, we should invite them to dinner. That's a good way to know somebody, okay? And one of the most important spiritual disciplines for us to recover in the kind of world in which we live in is discipline of table fellowship. It also says the table is a place where broken sinners can find connection and belonging. And this one is probably my favorite, the table as a place of forgiveness. It says, I'm convinced that our dinner tables have the potential to be the most missional places in all of our lives. It is definitely a mission that you're on when you're at that table. And I'm just like, wow, that is so crazy. Like, not even 50% of people are sitting at the table.